So glad to have everyone here to learn about NAWBO, specifically the Austin chapter, but also the national, and how information is shared from them and how we can get more plugged into what they're doing in addition to what's going on in our chapter. So we're going to start today. I'm going to screen share and we will look at the document that is in the chat. And that is a 2-page PDF that National sends out for us so that we can see where to find things. So you will be able to save a copy of this, print it if you want to. And we'll start with looking at the virtual programming here on the left-hand side. Um, these are such great opportunities. As you can see, the Empower Hour is weekly and the other two are monthly. And it's when you join NAWBO, you get this amazing network that is nationwide. And this is a great opportunity to meet the women that are involved from all over. I've done the Empower Hour many times, and it is so fun. The times that I've done it, between 30 and 40 people, and it's very dynamic because even though there's a larger number of people, they are very skilled at Zoom pop-out groups. And so you actually get to know people in the small groups of 4 to 5, and you do speed round introductions, and then you talk about a specific, it operates a bit like a mastermind group. There'll be a specific how your business is working well or something that is a challenge for you. And so I found that that is a great use of an hour, and it's just inspiring for my business. And I did feel connected to other people. And then many times in that Empower Hour, the contact information for people participating is shared in the chat, and then you're able to connect after that time slot and just follow up and get to know people. So that's a really fun one. I haven't done the virtual connections or the listen to the podcast. So Sandy, if you have experience with that, you can chime in on this.
I don't actually. I stay pretty focused on Austin. So
We keep you busy, don't we?
I mean, I have done the Empower Hour, but it's been, I mean, I did more of those during COVID.
Right, yes. The facilitator is a NAWBO staff member, and she's really gifted at that. So it goes really well. And I'm curious about the other ones. Okay, on the right side, there's some online resources listed, and we will look when we go switch over to the website, you'll be able to see where you can find more information on these. The NAWBO Institute, and then these different groups. The Circle group is for businesses making $1 million or more. And so they're very active at the national level, and then they do events around. So I think that's very exciting. That is a goal that I would love to reach one of these days. And
Well,
then,
and can I just pipe in on that one and say
yes.
Circle is basically a subgroup within NAWBO National. So to be a part of Circle, you do have to be making $1 million a year, but you have to have a maintained membership, and then there's an additional membership to join Circle, but that helps to pay for the events. Their Circle does their own events that are pretty incredible. It makes it a really good goal to hit $1 million in revenue if you can join that group. Last I heard, there was I think there's over 50 women in the national group.
And just for one example, when the national conference happened in October, the Circle members had their own breakout sessions and track with very high level speakers and teachers there. And then they also had their own social events like a golf outing and I think like a spa kind of thing. Yes, so it's an interesting, compelling group. And then the certification, from what I've heard, it is extremely helpful, particularly if you're new to running your own business. And so I think that's a great resource. And then many other ones. So we'll go on the website and see where they're listed. Community calls, these are open to all members, but they're specifically geared toward the chapter, the chapter committee leads is my understanding. So Liz, do you participate in the advocacy call?
I do,
You
and they actually invite people beyond the advocacy chair role in, and they're very informative. I put some of the information that they put out in webinars on our site, and they're an opportunity not to just understand NAWBO, but understand the larger world in general in terms of how things happen in law and how it impacts us in our lives.
So if you have any interest in that advocacy side of NAWBO, or just supporting women business owners from a public policy perspective, I think participating in those calls would be really interesting for you. And then the membership call, signature in-person events, they do a leadership, NAWBO National holds a leadership academy, and that's the next one coming up. We'll see that over on their events calendar when we switch to the website. Advocacy Day, so Leadership Academy happens in January. Advocacy Days happens in June. The national conference will not happen in 2024 for a very good reason. They're going to host that in Washington, D.C. in 2025 and celebrate the 50th anniversary. That's right, isn't it? The 50th? Yes. And from what they described at the conference I just attended, it is going to be a big party. It's like taking all that they would do to do the 24 conference and putting the energy of two together. So it sounds really awesome. And then the Next Gen Forum, that happens in conjunction with the conference, is my understanding. And Next Gen means younger women in business. So it could be students that are interested in business ownership as they progress in their career, or just I think of it as like 20s and 30s that are looking for mentoring. Sandy, can you clarify Next Gen beyond that?
Yeah, so the Next Gen Forum is a one-day forum at conference that happens at conference, but we also have a Next Gen membership level. And at conference, it even included high schoolers that are, whether they have started a business or they're considering starting a business. So the Next Gen level of membership is less expensive, and it allows us as members to provide mentorship to them and big sisterhood. So and so really the qualification is similar. It's, first business, young, they could still be in college, but they also might be fresh out of college. There's not a hard and fast rule of the age requirement. It's more of a requirement of, first business and first time being in the business world. So.
I did, and one of the people that I sat with at conference is highly involved in her chapter with mentoring. I think she oversees a mentoring program for people in their NAWBO chapter to mentor and meet regularly with Next Gen members. And they go into the community colleges and colleges in their area, and maybe high school too. I don't recall her saying that. And communicate, here's what NAWBO provides, and builds their membership from there. I think that sounds exciting. And then the communications, so social media, NAWBO and NAWBO Austin as well. You can follow on Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram and all the places. And then NAWBO and You is the weekly email that comes out. And then NAWBO One is with Women Business Owner Stories, so monthly e-publications. When we get over to the website in a few moments, I'll show you how you can sign up or how you can manage your preferences for what to receive communication-wise. And then here's some opportunities. First person articles. You could submit an article about you and your business journey and about what you provide. And then speaking opportunities, when you're a premier member, you can take advantage of speaking opportunities, and not just in the chapter, but at, like it says on the sheet, for their podcast, or just to apply to speak at a national event. And then there's leadership opportunities for us as chapter members to participate at the national level. And so, yes, we're going to move on now to the website. So this is the national website. And when you become a new member, you will create a login. I'll do that in a sec. Just let me look down here. The blog. So if you're not a member yet, you can connect and do the blog and see events. But I'm going to go ahead and log in and show you from a member perspective what it looks like. Here is my subscriptions. And this is where you sign up for your email communication. Now, this is very interesting. I haven't been on Sandy since they changed the back end, because I used to be checked for every type of communication. And I did notice that I wasn't getting some of them. And so here's where, so you'll see the default, I'm guessing for probably most of us, is this general news, since that's what it took me back to. So this is where you're going to go in and tell them what you want to receive. And I put it all on there, and then I weed out things if they don't. Not all of these email all the time. A lot of them don't send things, actually. Like, I've never received anything on the wellness. So I'm not sure if that's active, but I went ahead and you saw me do that. So now I'm going to log out so that we can head back to the website. Where's my logout? Up here. So
Well,
just
in there is where you can access the NAWBO Institute, and everyone has access to NAWBO Institute and all of the free courses.
right. Should I go back and show that?
Sure.
Okay.
And they're
I haven't done
provided
that
by Cultivate Advisors, is a national sponsor, and they put a myriad of yeah.
I'm not sure I have an account for it, Sandy.
Oh, you may not have logged in yet.
Yeah,
but that's where you'll get to it. Yeah, that's where you'll get to it. And there's a ton of free online courses that cover anything and everything around business, budgets, strategy, sales, marketing, like all kinds of things. So great to do in your pajamas.
Yes, and the content really is fabulous. It's what people pay for when they're doing courses and certification courses. Many of the teachers of those institute courses spoke at conference, and they were so good. I took pages of notes and was really glad to hear that there was more we could access at no additional cost for us. So here's where you can learn about NAWBO National, their vision, mission, history, and all the things.
You can also find a chapter there. So one thing as a member, even though you may be joining the NAWBO Austin chapter, you are a member of NAWBO everywhere, which means that you can attend events at if you travel. If that's something that's beneficial to you, you can attend events in any city where there's a NAWBO chapter, and you would get the member rate and have an opportunity to meet and network with all the folks in that chapter.
And then membership, this is where you click if you're ready to join. And they have some videos there and just information on the different types of members, since we have a few that aren't members yet. Basic, it shows you the difference. So I'm a Premier member, and the primary reason why I chose Premier is two things that were compelling to me. One is I was available, that created the opportunity for me to speak at my local chapter, and then also being a Premier member. There was a second reason, and it
Well, you
just
get access to
me.
the Perk Spot program. So they partner with partner alliances, Dell Computers, for example, UPS, for deliveries. And there's a whole myriad of them in there that all are things that we all can take advantage of as business owners. And those things, quite honestly, if you use them, can basically pay for your annual membership fee.
Mhm. Yes, and you can pay in a one-time fee or spread the out monthly payments for your membership. And then what was this one? Supporting is when you're not a business owner, but you're part of a company that supports business owners.
It also can be men.
And men can be, we have some in our chapter, which is
We have
so
one.
So that's where the membership information is. And then if you're ready to join, these are the buttons to click for that. Got to the top. So events, this is a great place to go to learn more about what they're doing at the national level. And let's go and see their events coming up. And specifically, I want the leadership one.
Oh, that's not going to be here. This is local events. Yeah.
This isn't the
If you
Virtual
go down
programming is
there.
what you're looking for.
Oh, here it is right here. It's its
Yeah.
own. So this is the one coming up in January. And Sandy, will you be attending this one?
I will not be able to be there.
Oh, do you know if anyone from our chapter is going?
I believe one of our I believe one of our chairs is going. And
I'm thinking about going.
oh, good.
The way they described it at conference just sounded phenomenal. I wish I could. I have a conflict with another event.
Same.
And it shows the details here. So consider that. The programming, the speakers that NAWBO brings into these events are the top in the nation, in my opinion. Institute, Sandy talked a little bit about that. So here's where you can find out more about Circle as well as these Institute programs that provide the Launch Right Startup, Connect and Learn. There's just so many resources. So some people part of the Launch Right program presented at conference too and talked about what a big difference it made to be part of this. And that was really compelling. So there's where you find the information on that. Resource Center, member directory, and other business resources, statistics, if those will be helpful for you. So these are the similar business resources. So here's places where you can get helpful reports on trends that are happening in the world related to business ownership. Online libraries, business publications, where you can, I mean, there's just so much. So you'll need to come and dig in. I'm curious about this, and I've looked at it before, but I wanted to see again. So newsletter subscriber and be in received. I need to look at that one some more because I'm curious what that will give to us. And then advocacy, if you want to speak on any of these, Liz, I just the fact that all of this is here. Like I think about women business owner groups that are in Austin, and they're great. They provide just enjoyable networking and support and oftentimes helpful speakers and content, but they don't have this. I think this advocacy piece of it is so unique to NAWBO, and I think it makes such a big difference, like Liz was saying when she was introducing herself.
Yeah, what I would recommend, it's information dense. And I'm a policy wonk from way back. And to find all of this information collected in one place is extremely helpful in my mind. And it's made so that it's easy to understand. And so if you have any questions about law, about advocating, about what NAWBO does for advocacy, I recommend perusing this particular tab. And then if you have questions, you can ask me in Slack. I'm always looking for people who are curious and help stimulate our direction.
Great. Thank you, Liz. And then you can find out if you're curious about certification, that process here, and then partners and media. All right, I'm going to, or was there any more about the national events, Sandy, that you wanted to make sure we mentioned before?
No, I think you did great.
Okay. And then there it is. Okay. Did that one. All right, so here's our local chapter. Kudos to Michelle, who is our website extraordinaire, even though she said she doesn't love doing websites. We so appreciate you keeping this going for us. So this is the homepage, and in there you can sign up for our newsletter and then learn more. This will point you to the NAWBO National. And then at the bottom of each page, you'll see these supporting member sponsors. And these are companies that have supported our local chapter in various ways. One way you can get your company represented here is by sponsoring our monthly luncheon. And then we put your logo and your company name on here, which I think is a wonderful perk for doing that. Here's our NAWBO members, and it's the committee chairs are first. So you see Sandy and Michelle there. Kate is the chair of the corporate and community outreach. Liz talked to us about advocacy. And then we also have Natasha, who is our DEI and B chair, and Kara, who's leading events and programming at the time. And Sandy, would this be a good time to talk about what the various committees do?
Sure. I think, well, Liz and Michelle have talked a minute about advocacy as well as marketing and communications. So, Kate Ginsburg is over the corporate and community outreach, and really that is about connecting with local businesses as well as member companies and drumming up sponsorships for our chapter and for events. So it's a great way to represent NAWBO and be connected with businesses in town. Natasha is our DEI&B, Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging chair. And that is where that committee really looks at our practices, our culture, the way that we do things, the way we talk about things, handling anything that comes up, and really just making sure that everyone, regardless of where they're coming from or what part of society they represent, that they feel very included and accepted and that they belong. And Kara Countryman is over events and programming. So events is the logistics and the planning of our events themselves, and programming is what is the programming. So that's where that gets involved with who our speakers are, what programming is going to happen at those events. And so everything all together, we are the one committee that is not currently chaired, that we have one more committee that doesn't have a chair position, which is membership. So that one you don't see here. But all of these committees are open to help and support and volunteer, whether it's just a one-shot, what can I help with, or if you want to be a part of a committee, there's a lot of opportunities, and we've grown really, really quickly. So there's also a lot of opportunities to help.
Yes.
We chartered May of last year with 25 members, and today we have 66.
It's exciting. It's been a good year. And then down this page, when you become a member, you send your headshot in to Michelle, email it to her, and she puts you on our member page. And then you can see, when I first became a member, I would go and look at this page before the luncheon. And just to remind me of who was it that I talked to last time, just remind me of her name, so that it would help me feel more prepared when I went in to connect with people at the next meeting. So I love how our chapter does this, and then we can find each other. And then back up.
Can I add?
Yes.
If you should be on here and you're not, or you want to give me a picture or change a picture, you can email it to nawboatx@gmail.com or send it to my own personal email or LinkedIn or Slack. I want to make sure everyone's represented. So make sure you send that in to me.
Great. Yes, thank you, Michelle, and thank you for doing such a diligent job of keeping that updated. Really appreciate it. This is the events page, which I want to encourage you to go to regularly. This and Slack are the two best ways. Well, reading your email newsletter, of course, is a good way to see what's going on, but to really know up to date, to find the answer, where is it located, what time is it, what day, this is the place to go. Then you don't have to dig in your email. So favoriting this page, put a star on it and make it one of your bookmarks is a great idea. And there we are today. And then this provides the RSVP button that can work. So our next event coming up is a social on Sunday, this 17th. And that's one of so the way our events work, you'll see the monthly luncheon right here. So our cadence of meetings is every month, except we do take the month of July off. Is that right, Sandy?
Correct.
July is a break month because so many people travel. But every other month of the year, our luncheon is on the second Wednesday of every month at the same location, Great Hills Country Club. And this is how you can RSVP in addition to the email newsletter, which will have a registration link. So you can go ahead and save that as a recurring calendar hold on your calendar to save the space, and then register as soon as registration opens up. Other events like this social event, those are unique ones. So the social event and then membership drive events, they will be a moving time that will be announced about a month or so beforehand for you to register. And then there are two events that alternate. Most of the time they alternate. There'll be a cheers event, which is similar to a happy hour event. It's that afternoon time period, 4:30 to 6:30, and it moves locations. And it's about every other month. And then about every other month is a connections event, which is similar to a mastermind, and it is limited to a smaller number of people, 10 or 12 people typically, depending on the location that is selected for having that event. And that one's really beneficial. And it being a smaller group, you really get to know people a little bit better there, or just in a different way. So that's the cadence of events. And if you're thinking, oh, where do I go see? Here, you go to our website and scroll down to the calendar, and you can see today's orientation in the winter, social, and then I go to January and I can see the luncheon. And the other events are not scheduled yet, but once they go on, this is where you will find them. And then you can click and you can see the location and the time, and there's the RSVP button. So an easy place to find what you need to know about the events.
Well, and just to clarify,
That calendar,
go ahead.
that calendar also shows national events, but national has not updated their website during the transition. That's the only reason they're not showing up there right now. But so that calendar at the bottom will show you both local and national events.
Amazing.
Cool.
And just to clarify that second Wednesday monthly luncheon, they are all scheduled. The reason that they're not all showing here is they're not open for registration yet. So they'll show up here as soon as registration is open, which is why going in as a member, you will make sure that you get in on our Slack channel. We always announce when registration is open for an event, so you will know that that's when you can get in there and get registered.
Yep. And I'll show the Slack in just a sec. This is a quick look at the Get Involved. So if you are curious about participating in one of the committees, you want to help with the check-in table. I don't want to join the committee, but I want to help greet people for a luncheon or a cheers event. Here's where you would reach out and indicate that. If you'd like to help take photos at an event, Michelle would love to have someone like be intentional about being a photo taker. You don't necessarily need to join the committee, but let her know, hey, I'll take photos at our social event on Sunday. This is where you send in the information that you're interested in participating. If you're thinking that down the road you'd be interested in being a committee chair, I encourage you to join the committee first and work with the current committee chair and get to know how that committee runs and just really get involved in it first, and then apply to be a committee chair. And that is this form as well, if you're interested in being a chair. Sandy, talk about when does that
I was
leadership?
about to say, yeah, so that's why we take July off, because that's the transition from one fiscal year to the next. And so that's when we change over leadership team to the new leadership team. So those new roles take effect July 1st. And so the month of July is a planning month for the new leadership team. And then August, the August luncheon on the second Wednesday of August is the official first event of the new year.
Great.
But you can join and volunteer midstream. You don't have to wait.
Right. That's what I did. I joined and then said, hey, I want to help greet people at meetings.
Yeah.
And so I would get to know people. Here's where you can sponsor one of the meetings or an event, and you fill in that. And then here's where you apply. If you're a Premier member and you would like to speak on a particular topic, you can apply for that here and give a little bit of information on what you would like to present on. All right, and then finish up by looking at our Slack. We mentioned that a few times. Once you join, you'll receive a separate email invitation to create a Slack account, and that will give you access to NAWBO. And the first place that you'll see is the Welcome to NAWBO ATX. And this is where when new members join into Slack, Sandy or someone will put in a welcome, and then we're able to say, yay, we're glad you're here. And then you can see here's what it looks like when a connections event is what this one was. But when our events are open for registration, it's popped into this Slack channel. Easy. You can just click on this and then go register. And then if you have a question about it, Slack is a great place to put it. And then we put up photos from our events. Michelle does such a good job of sharing photos with us and making a place where if you took photos, you can add it to the I think it's Google Photos, right? Yep. And then some Zoom info. Here's something, just information that's general for our chapter. So you want to have Slack to where it's easily accessible or set up notifications for it, because this is where the information happens. There's also, if you have something that is related to your own business activity, there is a place to let people know. We don't sell to each other in NAWBO, but if there is something that's available that would be of benefit to people in the NAWBO chapter,
Especially free resources or free webinars, or like here's someone that's doing a holiday party tomorrow night.
Right, so it could be something you're doing, like a free seminar that you're presenting, or it could be something you found out about, like this one, and you just want to invite other NAWBO members. And then Liz is putting her info in here, so appreciate that, Liz.
But also, if you're looking for something like, oh my gosh, I need a plumber.
Yes, like right here.
Know of a really good plumber.
Right, a recommended for a bookkeeper here, and Tara had some referrals.
Yeah.
And then when the conference happened, this is where we did a lot of chatting about prepping for the conference, and that was really helpful for me. And then if you become part of one of the committees, there'll be a channel on here where your committee will communicate. And then one thing that is also helpful, I showed you how I like to see who's in our group. You can look at people in Slack here too. So you go to more, organization, and then people, and it will show you, okay, here's the people that are in Slack, and you can message them individually here if you wanted to. It's just another way to reach out to folks. And that's what we're about, is supporting one another and connecting with one another. So Sandy, is there anything else you want to cover before I turn off the video recording?
I think you did a really great job. I can't think of anything else. Maybe just hit pause on record in case there's a
Can I
very
add one thing?
yes.
Back on our website,
Okay.
we
Oops.
also have recently started a blog and are accepting submissions. So if you would like to submit an article for our blog, you can put it there and it'll be shared on the blog and in the newsletter.
Great.
Amazing.
Thank you, Michelle. You do such a great job with our newsletter. We just appreciate you in so many ways. All right, let me turn off screen share and then I will pause the recording.